Good day, everyone. I am Angelina May B. Makamay. I am here to tell you about Edward L. Thorndike connectionism theory. So, Edward Thorndike's connectionism theory gave us the original SR framework of behavioral psychology. More than 100 years ago, he wrote a textbook entitled Educational Psychology. He was the first one to use this term. He explained that learning is the result of associations forming between S stimuli and R response. These associations or habits become strengthened or weakened by the nature and frequency of SR pairings. The model for SR theory was trial and error learning, in which certain responses came to be repeated because of rewards. The main principle of connectionism, like all behavioral theory, was that learning could be adequately explained without considering any unobservable internal states. So Edward L. Thorndike connectionism theory in psychology proposed that learning based on forming associations between stimuli S and response R. So these associations or habits are strengthened or weakened depending on how often SR are paired. In simple terms, in which certain responses leads to a reward, it's more likely to be repeated. It's more likely to be repeated because of the rewards. This theory mainly focused on observable behaviors and suggested that you could learn without considering any hidden internal processes. It's like learning through trial and error, where successfully responses are reinforced, in which certain responses came to be repeated because of the reward. So example, when you are teaching a dog to sit using this theory, when you say sit, that is the stimuli, and when the dog sits down, that is the response. That is the response. And when the dog already responds or sit down, you immediately give the dog treat or reward. So over time, the dog forms an associations between the command sit and the action of sitting, because it leads to a rewards. And this example illustrates the basic idea of how learning through associations and rewards work according to Thorndike's theory. So now let's proceed to the three primary laws of Thorndike. So Thorndike theory on conditionism states that learning has taken place when a strong connection or bond between stimulus and response is formed. So here's the three primary laws: law of effect, law of exercise, law of readiness. So first, law of effect states that a connection between a stimulus and response is strengthened when the consequence is positive, like reward, and the connection between stimulus and response is weakened when the consequence is negative. So this laws says that when you get a good result like reward after doing something, you are more likely to do it again. But if the result is bad, even fun things might not motivate you to do them again. So just like for example of this, when you are teaching a dog to sit down, when you say sit, that is the stimulus. When the dog sit down, that is the response. So when the dog already responds, you might give the dog a treat or reward, so that the dog will always respond to your command because it leads to a reward. So that is for the law of effect. So next, law of exercise. This tells us that the more an SR band is practiced, the stronger it will become. Practice makes perfect. seem to be associated with this. So it's saying like practice makes perfect. The more we practice, the connection between stimulus and response, the stronger it becomes. But just practicing alone might, might not might not always make us better. We need a feedback too. Example, think of learning ride a bicycle. The more you practice, the better you become at it. But just riding the bike without anyone telling you how to improve won't make you a perfect rider. You need feedback to get better. You need feedback to the to the to the expert of riding a bicycle. So that's it. So last, law of readiness. This states that the more readiness the learner has to respond to the stimulus, the stronger will be the bond between them. When a person is ready to respond to a stimulus and is not made to respond, it becomes annoying to the person. So it is about being ready to respond to something but can't. It can be frustrating. Also, when we are not ready to respond but there's someone asks us to, it can also be annoying. So it is important to give people a little time to be ready before asking them to respond to a stimulus, like a teacher giving a moment before asking a question. So, example, when the teacher immediately asks a student to answer a question but they are not prepared, it can be annoying to the students. So it's important to give people a chance to get ready before expecting them to respond to your stimulus or questions. So that's all for the law of effect, law of exercise, and law of readiness. Okay, so let's proceed to the principles derived from Thorndike's connectionism. So first, learning requires both practice and rewards, that is, laws of effect and exercise. To learn something well, you need to practice it, like riding a bicycle, and get rewards or positive result for your efforts, and like praise or positive feedback to the expert of riding bicycle. So number 2, a series of SR connections can be chained together if they belong to the same action sequence. So that is law of readiness. So when you are doing a task with several steps, like baking a cake, you can connect the steps together in your mind. It helps you to perform the whole action smoothly because you are ready for each steps. So, number 3, transfer of learning occurs because of previously encountered situations. So, when you learn something in one situation, like solving a math problem, you can use what you learned to the new problems because you've encountered the same or similar situations before. So let's go for number 4. Intelligence is a function of the number of connections learned. The more things you've learned and connected in your mind, the smarter you become. Your intelligence grows with the numbers of connections you've made through learning and experience. So that's all for my report, and thank you for watching.